Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video here. So I want to talk about episodes 17 and 18 because those episodes are obviously dropping in just 2 weeks from today, which is really exciting. We got some new teaser images here of the first two episodes here of the last episodes, and it really looks incredible. I also really want to talk about the tone overall of the last 8 episodes here because there's a noticeable difference in the tone of the show here going into these last 8 that's actually very different than the tone was in part 2 as well as part 1 and then previous seasons. So I actually just kind of want to talk about the tone and whatnot of The Walking Dead over the last couple of years here, sort of comparing it throughout the entire series, and yeah, some other stuff regarding those 2 episodes. So obviously, before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all of my Walking Dead content regarding all of this. If you haven't followed me on Twitch yet or on the Discord, definitely go do so because I do a lot of stuff on here with The Walking Dead and all that, but obviously if you want to take part in Q&A videos that I post on here, the Discord is the place to do it. There's a lot of stuff that's going on in the Discord. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Like, if you want to join a Walking Dead community where, you know, you can discuss the last episodes and whatnot and the future of The Walking Dead, the spinoffs and stuff like that, definitely go join the Discord. The server name is Appetite for the Dead. The link for that is in the description, as well as on Twitch. The same exact thing. Username is Appetite for the Dead. I'm going to be doing a lot of streams there, a lot of like reactions and live Q&As and stuff for the episodes. And so, yeah, I hope to see you guys all there. Obviously, all that, it doesn't start this Sunday, but the Sunday after, all that's going to start. So, yeah, but let's actually talk about these images here. So, I mean, I guess we got the first image here, and this one is of Aaron, and I believe these images are from episodes 17 and 18, at least when I read articles on them, or if I see people talking about it online. It seems like they're from those first 2 episodes there. So in 2 weeks from now, we're going to know the context of all of this here. But yeah, I think this is super cool. Honestly, it's really cool to actually have Aaron back here and having more of I guess, a lead role here in these last 8 episodes. I mean, it makes sense in terms of an outfit change, you know, because that's one of those things when you're watching the trailers and stuff like that. If you want to get a good indicator of what's going on, just look at the outfits that they're wearing and sort of compare it to the last time you saw them in the outfit they were wearing then, right? Because Aaron here, he's wearing that same shirt that he wore before. And so this seems like, honestly, this kind of seems like an episode 17 thing. I think they're probably trying to find a place to hide. And that's going to be one of those things that I think they touch on right away in episode 17 is, where do we go? Where do we hide? Because the Commonwealth is after us and we need to sort of come up with a plan. Though I think Aaron and Gabriel, for the most part, I mean, obviously Aaron's going to want to go and get Gracie. Like, there's going to be all these worries and concerns that they all have, right? Because they all have to go to the Commonwealth and save the ones that they love. And it's going to be really hard, obviously. Like, there's no way they're going to be able to step foot in the Commonwealth and you know, just be fine. They're going to be arrested immediately. And so it's sort of one of those things where, what happens to Gracie now, right? And that's where you have to sort of worry, you know, if Lance does get back to the Commonwealth and he tells Pamela Milton all these things, I mean, what's going to happen there? I mean, I guess Pamela Milton probably already knows. I'm sure that, you know, people in the Commonwealth know what happened with Aaron, Daryl, Maggie, and everyone else, but it's definitely something that's going to be a huge concern for everybody because, like, you know, you have people sort of, like, you know, you look at Gracie and, like, Judith or RJ, like, they're going to school, they're sort of living a normal life. Now, you know, their parents and whatnot, the people that take care of them have to go there and be like, sorry, you can't live this life, we have to leave, basically, right? And it's obviously going to suck, but the thing is, like, that's why you have characters like Maggie who you know, her thinking on all this is basically, well, we're just going to have to go in there and take this place over again. Like, we're just going to have to change it and we're going to have to live there, sort of thing. And I don't know if every other character really believes that at this point. I think Maggie, that's her, like, ultimate goal here. And so I think that's why she actually really wants to take down Pamela Milton. And I think that's really awesome just because of the comic. Obviously, eventually she does become the leader. She's not going to become the leader right away here on the show and just in this world or timeline, just because obviously they have the spinoffs and whatnot, like with Dead City. But obviously in the future, at some point, when all the spinoffs are done over the next 4, 5, 6 years, and they sort of wrap up this era of The Walking Dead, Maggie, I imagine, is going to be the president of the Commonwealth, and then whenever they do a next generation thing, you know, 20, 30 years down the road, when it's a brand new story and stuff, we may get hints of that. We may even see Lauren Cohen come back as Maggie, but she'll just be much older, right? Like, they're going to have to, like, age her and stuff like that to play, I don't know, somebody who's like 70 years old, around there, 60, 70. I guess it depends on the time jump, but yeah. Oh, wait, it's not going to be that long, because I'm pretty sure Maggie right now is like late 20s, maybe like 30 years old. So if they jump forward 20 years, he's probably only going to be like 50 years old or something like that. So yeah, but anyways, let's go to the next shot here. We do have this shot of Gabriel, and man, I just love shots of Gabriel. Honestly, Gabriel's probably one of my favorite characters, and I've talked about this so much before, but there's just something about the way that, I mean, this character has just sort of evolved over the years, and there's this unpredictability about him that I really, really like. And honestly, it's just sort of, he looks badass, you know, with the eye that's sort of, I guess he's blind now, but with the hat and stuff, he looks super badass. And the thing is, I know I talked about wanting him to die in season 10. I still stand by that just because I want my favorite characters and the characters that are the most badass to sort of have a very badass death. Like, I think that's one of those things that if you're an actor on the show, if you're going to go out, you want to go out in a really, really crazy way, just because it's obviously a lot of fun. And I imagine that's one of those things that like Norman Reedus wants to do, right? As an actor, you want to play that final part of the character's story. That's something that you're really looking forward to. It's just a matter of like, how do you get there? What happens when you eventually get there? I think Gabriel's going to survive. I do think he's going to make it out of this season here. But yeah, a super cool shot here. I believe this is also when he's talking with Aaron. So I think they're both in the same shot here. And then we have this shot here of Daryl, and it looks like it's a very similar, you know, region here. Very similar surroundings. And so I imagine all these shots are probably from like the same, like just one episode. It might be all from 17, or maybe they're all from 18, because there's also a shot of Maggie and it's the same exact thing. It's the same exact shot, and they all sort of, they're dressed the same as where we last saw them in episode 16. So yeah, I guess this could be from 17. It's possible that at this point here they're just sort of running away. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if this was from like the opening minutes of 17, where they're hiding out here, and then they plan to move to this certain location, and that's where we see some of those shots of Maggie and Daryl kind of hiding from the Commonwealth because they heard them and they're traveling around. We see some shots of Negan right out on the street and whatnot. And I think a lot of that's going to play out in the first episode. It looks like it's not going to start slow, though. Like, it looks like these last episodes are really going to pick up with a lot of action here. And so I actually do kind of recommend maybe watching the last couple of episodes there of part 2. Honestly, I wonder if I can do sort of a watch party, or sort of like just I could do a recap video, even like just sort of recapping the events of where we left off. Because like, I don't think it's going to start slow. You know, like I don't think this is going to be one of those blocks of 8 episodes where it starts off a little slow in the beginning and then really picks up towards the end. I think if you think of where episode 16 ended off, I mean, to be honest, part 2 overall was kind of slow. Like, honestly, when I look at season 11, I really tried to ignore part 1, like the Reaper arc, because a lot of it was, I mean, honestly, most of it was stuff we didn't really need to see. Like, the Reaper arc was kind of pointless in all of it because Leah overall didn't really matter. So it was kind of a weird story, to be honest. It was just kind of a weird story that I don't know. Like, I think they tried to bridge a lot of stuff between Daryl and some of his personal stuff, introducing a love interest for him with some of Maggie's, you know, return to The Walking Dead. And I think that's where they kind of messed it up there a little bit. Honestly, I think it just a little too complex with a lot of that, and I think they sort of overdid it there. I think you could have just had Maggie, a part of the Commonwealth, show up and have them help with the Whisperers. I mean, I talked about this in a lot of my predictions going back to season 10, and I think that would have been honestly fine. I don't think we needed to get any of the Reaper stuff, but obviously they wanted to expand the Commonwealth arc here quite a bit. Well, not expand the Commonwealth arc, but expand the season. So if it feels like, you know, part 2 was a little rushed, it's because they really want to get into a lot of the action here for part 3. And so I still think overall you probably didn't have to rush it. Maybe we would have had some slower episodes and whatnot throughout, you know, if you had all 24 episodes focused on the Commonwealth. But I still think that would have been fine. Honestly, I still think overall that would have worked. Or maybe you even had Maggie return. Like, honestly, you probably could have just copied the comic. Like, you really honestly probably could have just copied the comic and just had Maggie meet up with Eugene and all of them, and then they go to the Commonwealth or whatever. You have that exact story. Maggie's there, and Maggie's just sort of, she's working with Pamela Milton, but she's obviously very conflicted with what they do. Maybe she doesn't know everything of what they do. So there's that whole thing there. And then you also have, you know, Daryl and them dealing with the aftermath of the Whisperer War, not having food, this and that, trying to rebuild. And then I think, honestly, like, I think that would have worked, like, just really well. And then eventually you get, you know, and maybe in episode 8, you have them showing up there. I think there's a lot that they could have done. Like, I really do think so. Anyways, that's in the past. I'm not going to go and review that. But I just think that, yeah, these last 8, they're really, it's going to be really action-packed. There's a lot of stuff that they have to get through here. And that's one of those things that I haven't talked about ever, was the tone of these last 8 episodes. Because the tone feels so So it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is, but like if you see a shot like this, like just a shot of Maggie, there's a certain element about it. Like there's this tone or vibe feeling that you're getting from shots like this, or you go to a shot like this of Daryl, that it's a little different from the episodes that we got previously. I mean, for one, I'll say that the quality of these images, the quality of the shots now, of the footage and stuff from episodes are definitely so crisp. So it's a little different because The Walking Dead has always had this more of like a grainy look, right? And I think that's sort of them just adapting with the times, to be honest, because if they're competing with shows like Last of Us, that's going to look beautiful as hell, right? You have shows like House of the Dragon and whatnot. Like obviously you sort of have to upgrade the quality of your show here, and they do shoot digitally now, right? So there is that, but there is something about the quality of it, right? Like if you go to a shot here of Aaron, there's like this grayness to it, like gray color grading to all of it. It almost reminds me a little bit, and I hate to say it, but it almost reminds me a little bit of Fear the Walking Dead season 5. Obviously, it is nowhere near as bad. It really is nowhere near as bad, because that was just, I mean, it completely, there was no color at all. Whereas if you actually look at the last episode's trailer here, there's a shot here of Ezekiel, actually. I mean, you can see clearly that there's a lot of color and whatnot. It's just some of these shots, they give that vibe off. And that's what I mean. Go to a shot like this of Ezekiel. Like, doesn't this feel like almost too real? Like honestly, I really like the quality of it, but it's so weird because you can really see the characters there. Like there's just something about the last episodes here that feels very authentic. And honestly, I think what it could be, honestly, it really could just simply be this. They filmed this, I believe, basically in the winter, right? They were filming this in like the last episodes here, especially they were filming late 2021 and early 2022, because they filmed a lot of these in November, right? October, November, and then going into the last couple of episodes there, they would have filmed that from January, February, and March. So, that could be why we're getting that tone overall. Because if you look at the trees, there's no leaves anywhere. It's winter time. So it could give off this vibe just because of the sun, just the natural lighting that you do have. The tone is overall going to be different. And maybe that's why it does feel different, because usually they don't film The Walking Dead in January, right? Usually they always film from like May to November. But with this season, they filmed, the first part of season 11 and whatnot. They did film, obviously, starting in, I think, at some point in 2021. It was earlier on. And then, obviously, they filmed throughout the entire year and then early into 2022. So that's exactly what it is, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's exactly what it is. I mean, there's no, like, summer feel, summer vibe that I'm getting from this. And usually with The Walking Dead, you do have that summer feel. I mean, look back at season 2. There's some shots of Shane and Rick and whatnot in the woods, and the trees have like leaves and stuff, and you look at a shot like this of Ezekiel and there's literally no leaves here on the trees. So it's kind of cool how you can actually see that. You can actually tell, what season it is and whatnot on the show just based off of the tone and just sort of the, I guess, color grading and whatnot. I don't know what else do they do for editing and whatnot, because obviously I don't do editing and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really cool. And I mean, to be honest, I guess the one thing that I will say is this shot actually really looks like an updated version of some of those shots in season 4, like at the very end there, because it was fall then, right? You could tell. And there was a certain vibe that you got from that late season 4 to early season 5, right, of The Walking Dead. This actually just kind of reminds me of an updated version of it, which is kind of cool. I really like that, because obviously that era of The Walking Dead was probably the most exciting, and I still remember every single day being excited for each Sunday. And now look at that, we're already at the end here. I mean kind of at the end. We're at the end of the main show. Obviously there's going to be more, but yeah, I thought this was just really interesting. It was kind of cool to focus on the tone here and just kind of see like there's some similarities, but it just kind of seems like in each block there's a noticeable change, and it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what it is. But I think what it is just what I was saying. I do think it's because they filmed year round, and so obviously filming in a place where the seasons are changing, the sun's going to be in different locations, it depends on the time of day as well, but there's going to be a lot of differences there in terms of natural lighting and whatnot. So yeah, I thought this was actually kind of cool. Early reviews, I believe, are coming out very soon. I did ask people on Twitter. Actually, here, let me go and check. Actually, yeah, never mind. Okay, so September 22nd apparently is when early reviews are coming out. So sweet. I really can't wait to see what people are thinking of episode 17 and 18. So yeah, I guess expect a video in 4 days from now on some of the early reviews. We'll go through a bunch of reviews and stuff and just see what people have to say about these first 2 episodes here. And yeah, anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. Definitely post your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Make sure to be a subscriber if you do want more Walking Dead content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.